Well, here we go. EA have had their chance to respond. After their grilling and surprise mechanics, run-ins with Belgium, and continuing mainstream media attention, they have finally talked to the press about FIFA Ultimate Team. What have we found out? Well, that EA very well could be the company that will get the entire industry in trouble. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another industry report. Today we've got an update on the ongoing loot box story, as EA have spoken to numerous outlets defending their business practices and making it pretty darn clear what they think. And before we hop into this fully, remember that thanks to your support and that of our patrons, we are hiring a writer/researcher, so if you're interested, hit up the job link in the description below. Okay, so Eurogamer, amongst other outlets, were flown over to an EA press event last month. Now, this event was entirely focused on FIFA's Ultimate Team game mode, the very successful live service that is based around a loot box mechanism where you construct teams of football players that are found within card packs that can be purchased for both in-game currency and premium currency. Now, by using the parallel with physical football trading cards from back in the day when we were all kids, they've managed to create one of the world's most successful pay-to-win loot box systems, with FUT being the single most important part, pretty much, of EA's overall business, making up for a rather staggering 28% of the company's revenue. Rather amazingly, that is more revenue than FIFA game sales themselves bring in. That's how big Ultimate Team is. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that FIFA Ultimate Team is the core of EA's business. Any damage to that will be extremely bad for EA's outlook, and they're probably going to do everything they can to keep it going. So, this press event was all about Ultimate Team, and EA started by giving a presentation on, new season objectives, sub-modes for casual players, tweaks to the menu, game features for Ultimate Team. But when it came to the Q&A session, well, suffice to say, the press were not all that interested in the new game features for Ultimate Team. Oddly enough, EA were grilled in their business model, as you might expect. Now, these questions were primarily handled by Gareth Reeder, who is the producer for the Ultimate Team game mode, and really his answers give us a lot to talk about. So, first, they were asked if they were happy with how microtransactions are in FUT, especially with their inclusion of odds for the loot boxes last year, and if any plans have changed because of government pressure. And Reeder was pretty clear here, saying that there are no major changes for FUT 2020, going on to say, obviously, we're going to keep an eye on things as they go, but the pack odds that we put in, that was something we just wanted to do for our people to see and have more informed choices about what they're getting in-game. And the reaction, we weren't sure what the reaction was going to be, but I think with the community it's been good, and we'll continue to just monitor going forward. So that's pretty much what he said. And when you break that down, well, yeah, sure, the community was happy about seeing the odds. More information is a good thing. But that doesn't really say much for the overall greediness of the game mode and their willingness to deliver a poor value to their customers by design, as evidenced by their balancing of the mode and how it pretty much is there to provide infinite microtransactions. Saying that people are happy, that's a little bit rich, but it is the clear PR line to toe. Now, as for the pack odds being voluntary, well, literally they were. He is correct. They weren't forced to do it. But in context, it's hard to say that they did it purely, in my opinion, to let their customers have more information. Across the world, purely random loot box mechanics were coming under more scrutiny. We had games like Dota and Fortnite Save the World include odds, and actually go a little bit further in some cases to cut down people's ability to binge purchase packs. It's also legally mandatory in places like China. So EA clearly, I think, were influenced by external factors. Let's be real. You want to keep them dumb, you want to keep them paying. It's hard to see EA giving people more info purely out of the goodness of their hearts. Moving on though, Reeder was pushed on the government pressure angle, and he said this: "We see it, we're obviously aware. I think, like the rest of the industry, we're going to keep an eye on where that goes, but currently we've got good feedback from players. There's no changes or no planned changes in FIFA Ultimate Team." So there you go. They have no planned response to the press and customer backlash. They don't want to make any changes. It somewhat gets worse though, because he was pressed on the specific issue of children overspending. Now, that's an area where governments take particular interest, so it is very important, even though I think primarily this is not an audience comprised of children. So he said this: "No, it's maybe, based on feedback, something we'd look at down the road, but I think we look at it as consumer choice for what they want to open. There's still more packs open through coins than through FIFA Ultimate Team points in-game. We'll keep listening to feedback, but we've got no plans to change that. So once again, yeah, we see them doubling down and saying, we have no plans to change the game mode. Now, on the topic of age limits, we heard the same thing, with him saying that things may change at some point, but right now, they have no plans to change. So overall, we've seen the producer of FIFA Ultimate Team confirm that the company has no plans to change the game mode, including no plans to provide safeguards against children overspending in the mode by placing things like purchase caps into the game. Now, one thing that I've said before is that a good way to morally judge a company is what a company is willing to accept in return for the value they aim to provide. Now, FIFA is actually a pretty great football game by all accounts. Selling a copy of FIFA for full price, well, that's providing a great game at a reasonable price, one that will provide hours of entertainment. There's nothing wrong there, that's a really good thing, that's what we all want to see happen in gaming across all genres. Ultimate Team, though, does change that entirely. The industry refers to some players as whales. It's nasty language, yes, but it's talking about the idea of instead of, I don't know, catching loads of mackerel, you instead just focus on catching a big juicy whale. In games like this, a tiny percentage of the audience are responsible for the vast majority of the spending. Now, the thing is, with all the information we've talked about thus far in this video, we can actually put a bunch of it together. Ultimate Team brings in more money than sales of FIFA. That's kind of info point number one. Yet, Gareth Reeder said that most FIFA Ultimate Team packs are opened using game coins, not premium currency. So, the majority of FIFA Ultimate Team players are playing for free. But those who are spending money, well, we know they are spending so much money that FIFA Ultimate Team brings in more revenue for Electronic Arts than sales of FIFA games do. We consistently hear stories of people spending thousands of pounds per year in FIFA Ultimate Team, of kids emptying bank accounts. Now, those things, they are outliers, yes, but the entire point of the whale business model, as they call it, is that it entirely does rely on the outliers. One person spending, say, we'll do in dollars, $5,000 per year on Ultimate Team, they're going to be worth like 80 game sales. People even spending $300 a year, they're worth 5 game sales. And actually, it gets, well, it's even more that because the profit margins will be higher on the digital currency purchases. And that's really just how core this is to EA's business model. We've got to ask ourselves, going back to what I brought up earlier, how much value are they providing? How much are they willing to provide for what they ask? Is a pack of random quality AI profiles giving value to the customer? I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. I think EA are showing that they're clearly happy to accept people's money in order to provide them with another Skinner box food pellet. And I don't think that's a good thing. And what's more telling is their refusal to limit, say, child spending, or to implement spending caps. At least Rockstar Games, when adding the casino into Grand Theft Auto, capped you at purchasing about 60 pence to £1.50 per hour in, it just depends on the type of shark card that you would purchase if you were doing shark cards, but they put a cap in there. Now sure, they'll have put that cap in there to prevent the government from kicking down their door, but the point kind of stands here. They put in safeguards where EA refused to. And I think that's really worth bearing in mind. And that's the worry here, that EA will continue to push the boat out to the point where they will bring on draconian government regulation on the whole industry, regulation that very well could have unintended consequences or could give the government too much power over player freedoms. Because yes, we can all agree that Foot is bad, right? That we don't really like what Ultimate Team is doing. But that very same government panel that everyone cheered on for getting surprise mechanics out of EA, that government panel also talked about China-style restrictions on people's game time. How long you could play a game before you're just kicked off. So what I'd say is be careful what you wish for. Be careful about being focused only on your goals. This is a case where the immediate goal could have significant and bad ramifications, and the problem is EA are going to bring those bad ramifications on us by really taking the piss. Now, that's not all from EA's responses though. They were also asked about the yearly FIFA Ultimate Team reset. And you know, I was going to make a joke here about your Hearthstone cards disappearing every year, but then I kind of remembered that Hearthstone actually sort of does that. I mean, it retires them from the current rotation, but you get the picture. And I suppose Magic the Gathering has like also done that. But anyway, moving on, Gareth Reader said that they haven't considered that in the short term, and that's basically perhaps in the future when the game is not refreshed yearly, that is something that they might consider. He said though that right now the community are excited to jump into each new FIFA Ultimate Team as a fresh start. He said that they will have some rewards carry over, but that allowing people to take their full set of content over to the new title would present challenges for balance and the type of content that people would have in the game. And yeah, what an answer. Sure, people like a fresh start, I get that, totally, but I think there are realities we can't really ignore here. They get to wipe the value of player accounts clean every year, in effect, because the new year's FIFA Ultimate Team will be the one that people will play. They get to basically put people back to square one and extract all of that money from them again. Okay, not for all people, because most people don't pay, but their entire business model is predicated on those who do pay. And sure, some work will be done, the players might be updated a little bit, but essentially it is the same thing, let's be real. And I think there's a bit of delusion here, really, with his response. Now, as for him talking about the game format, well, with Ultimate Team making more money than FIFA, I could see a reality where Ultimate Team is split off into its own product. But the thing is, if they did that, I wonder how they would be able to make up for just the revenue lost by not being able to wipe people's accounts every year. I'm not really sure how they do that. That's got to be a major revenue driver for them. But really, that's the story here. What I'm going to leave you with today is just by saying to remember the threats that were made against the industry by the UK Gambling Commission that we covered in our most recent video. Practices like this, what we've talked about in today's video, and the lack of a willingness to change and to take some common sense precautions against things which I think most people would say are morally untenable, their lack of a willingness to do that, well, that's just short-term greed, and it's short-term greed that will backfire. Governments will get involved. And, you know, even if the governments aren't getting involved for good reasons, look, somebody can campaign in this and do well popularly. So expect more here soon, I suppose. I would love to hear what you think about FIFA Ultimate Team, though, and all of these issues. And of course, thank you to our patrons. Thank you to everyone for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell. And if you're interested in the job opening that we have, check out that link down below. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. And with that, I'll see you next time.